All right, hello everyone. Getting a couple yellow bars here on the internets. Hopefully it's gonna hang in there. But I hope you're doing well and hope you had a really good week. We have a fun, I say we, I have me and my lovely background have a fun episode for you this week where we're gonna try to be a little bit more positive than what we've been before. And it's going to be more about what some groups have done in the past to just at least annoy or be a pain in the ass of the rulers. And that's what we're going to do today. So anyways, I'm going to say a quick hello to everyone in the chat. So Binks, thank you so much for letting me know the sound is good. Always important because I never know. Oh my gosh, you guys can see, look right here. That's my cat. I don't know if you can see him. He's trying to get in. He's going to turn his face back over. He's trying to come in. Do you guys see him? Right there. Oh, yeah, that's Stone, my cat. He's trying to come in, but he's going to have to wait just a little bit because if I let him in the stream right now, he's going to meow the crap out of the stream and there's going to be no stream. So anyways, I just thought that was pretty interesting. So a little bit of a stalker cat back there. You're going to notice him during the video, but I will let him in later. He's not banned from the house. So it is getting cold out here in Ontario, so we're not leaving him out overnight. Okay, hello, the David. Hello, Canada Girl. Top Dog, Scribbler Squire. Always happy to have you here. Heather, Original Max. Binks, as always, you know I'm going to forget half of my words tonight, so I'm going to count on you to be my sidekick. Thank you very much for being here. And let me see, Anna Z and Glenn B. So I hope you guys had a good week. I'm going to start off with a couple of fun things this week. So two really cool things happened this week. I went to the Freedom Rally in my town, and I went mostly because I wanted to see like how many alpha males my city has. So I actually went, and it actually turned out to be really good. I have a few pictures. I should have prepared to load them here today, but okay. Let me just tell you a few of the pictures of the posters that I saw because that was actually really fun. So let me see here. There was, of course, the vaccination posters. They were really famous there. So the no vax, no compulsory vax, that was there. But I did see a few really fun ones. So one said, "Communism, you masked for it." And I thought, oh, that's pretty clever. Love it. So communism, you masked for it. Very true. And there was a couple of the black flags. I can't remember what those guys are. The black flags with the snakes. Do you know what those guys are? Have you heard of them before? I've seen their logos, but anyways. Okay, let's see what else I have. Hold on. They were the "Don't Tread on Me" Liberty, and they're a black flag. They have a snake coiled up in the middle of the flag. Anyways, those guys were there. That was pretty awesome. Like, it felt really good to be surrounded by like the alpha male, like true energy. So that's pretty much the reason I went. My husband was, of course, there with me because he was like, "Well, what if you get beat up in a?" I was like, "Nobody knows me. I'm not gonna get beat up in a rally." But he was so sweet to come with me. So that was a lot of fun. So we went there, and there was a couple of speeches, and of course, it's all the stuff that you and I know already. I had a few more posters. I just can't seem to find them. See, I should have been more prepared today. I say that every stream. I'm never prepared. It's such a joke. I don't even know why you guys tune in to watch me. But okay. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was, I wouldn't say there was a lot of people from the pictures I have. I would say maybe 300 people, but I live in a small-ish town, so I'm not in Toronto. So for our city, that was pretty substantial and pretty interesting. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to be there and to be surrounded by like-minded people, and where you can feel that you can actually breathe and be normal, and you feel that society hasn't completely collapsed yet. So that was a lot of fun to be there. Loved it. Second thing that was really fun for me this week. Oh, hi, Tyler. You're here. Okay, great. Hi, Tyler. And anyways, okay, there was another thing that was really fun. So I have lost a lot of friends and family members when these mandates were imposed on us. So you know, you don't get the injection. You have family members that ban you from coming to their house and all that. I'm sure you guys know. And we have our jobs that are now threatened. So it's very, very tedious time for us. But the good side of this is I have met a lot of fun people who are like-minded. So you know how a lot of you guys also follow Rage. I know you do. And his motto is always find your tribe, find your tribe. So it's kind of true in a way. I've looked at all of my neighbors in my neighborhood and thought, okay, if all of this goes to hell, who can I actually count on and who can I not count on? So we already have the lists going. My husband and I, we've decided where my kids can go to be safe and where they cannot go. And we met new neighbors through this whole process, which was awesome. And we went to a party at their house, which was amazing and so nice because literally everybody at that party was like-minded people. So it really opened up, like this small, tiny private party on my street opened up like this huge amount of people that I can relate to and now talk to and not feel like I've completely lost my mind. So it was really nice. So it really made me realize this weekend, okay, there's a lot of people like us out there and we are not alone. So we just got to keep going. So anyways, that is what my weekend was like. I hope yours was as awesome as mine. Doesn't sound like Binks was. Binks, yeah. A lot of us are getting that now. And we got to stay strong, guys. We got to stay strong. Hold the line. We will get there. A lot of stuff is coming out now. These are things I cannot say here, but a lot of stuff is coming out and it's in our favor and it's proving us right, as sadly as it is. So hold the line because there are a lot of people who still agree with the communist way we're going, but there's a lot of people who don't. So hold the line, guys. Stay strong out there. It's my message literally every stream. There's a lot of us out there and we just got to find ourselves and resist this. I hope you can, Binks. I hope your wife's okay and really stay strong. I'm sending you huge hugs. It's not good. It's not a good time. I'm so sorry that your wife has to go through that. Christian Delorme is here. Hello, Melanie, Christian. Okay, so if you have no kids, I might be able to swear tonight. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to try not to because tonight is a positive street. We're going to show, we're going to talk about the Polish today. So this is like unbannable topics. Like this is the topics that YouTube isn't looking for, and so I'm going to get away scot-free with this today. So I hope you stay for this because I'm going to show you how a group of Poles in the 1970s and 80s just managed to kick it up to the commies and like really panic the commies. And that's what we need to do. This is literally what we need to do. I'm going to show you that tonight. Hello, Melanie. Glad to have you here. I hope you guys are doing well. And Zana Rosa. And oh my gosh, there's so many people here. Yes, no to communism in Canada, girl. Glenn B. Linda, I hope you're doing well. Linda K. Oh my goodness. Tommy Gunn, Thought Drifter. Did I miss anybody? Political Foolishness. You know, if I miss Alex Jones, if I miss anybody in the chat, please believe me, it is never intentional. I am a little bit, how do you say, like I have ADD, so I'm like distracted by like stupid ads on pages. I'm like ridiculous. And when I see all the chat flying by on my screen, I try to catch all of it. I don't always. So I will miss some of you, but please know if I miss mentioning your name in the chat one day, it is not because I have anything against you. It's purely because my brain is stupid that way. So I really appreciate everybody who's being there. There's one here from Malaysia. Oh my gosh. So, okay, let me see if I can pronounce this properly. Oh my gosh, just such a beautiful name too. Diligit Jaya, Jack. That's a hard one to say. So I hope I did you justice. Welcome. I'm so happy. Malaysia. I've never had a viewer from Malaysia. And it's a good morning to you if it's the morning over there. Amazing. So happy to have you. We are going to bash communism over here in Canada today. So Malaysia team, I hope you're with us. We're going to kick this. This is going away. Trust me, this is going away. Okay, who else do we have? Just one quick. I think that is it. Oh my goodness. Glenn B, I think I mentioned you already. Okay, so I think I have everybody. Thank you again for joining. 33 people. That is awesome. Way more than I ever expect on a normal stream. So we can get started. So just to warm us up, guys, to warm us up into the proper warrior skin to get against communism, we are going to look at a few of the things that have happened this week. And of course, top of my list is always propaganda. I love seeing the propaganda that the media is coming out with, and I have the perfect article for you this week. So let's check this one out. Oh my gosh. Okay. Help. Accommodating my unvaccinated friends has become an exhausting chore. Okay. Just the title alone, I can go on a 20-minute rant. I will spare you. But let me say, what the fuck, right? Oh my God. Okay. Milani, I'm so sorry. And I'm glad your friends are not here. Your kids are not here today. This is not gonna be PG. Help! Exclamation mark. I'm accommodating my unvaccinated friends. Dude, what the hell? Your unvaccinated friend is losing their job, losing their income, losing their friends, losing their family. And your problem is you can't accommodate? This level is, just so you know, I get angry like this, but this is propaganda. And I'm doing this to show you that this level of propaganda is not true. This is just fluff pieces they make up to make you think that this is what's happening. But the problem, and this is what gets me so aggravated and angry on these streams, is that this will actually get unvaccinated people going, oh, yeah, I'm also accommodating my friends. What the hell? Like, this is what I mean. This is why this piece of propaganda is so dangerous. And because we're dealing with so much brainwashed people at the same time, this is what we're dealing with. You have your brainwashed people in your life who are going to read these kinds of bullshit articles and are going to go, oh, yeah, it is exhausting to hang out with my unvaccinated friend. This is yet another divisive measure trying to get you against the unvaccinated. It's okay. Let's check it out, because this just only can get better, right? So look, they put the coronavirus in a nice pink. Oh, so artistic. Dear Prudence answers more of your questions only for Slate Plus members. Every week has these questions. So taking so much out of me. So dealing with, I have to calm down, guys. Oh my gosh, this is where I'm like, should I smoke weed? Like, should I, what is the drug that you get prescribed by your doctor to calm down? Zolox? I don't even know. I don't take anything, so I have no idea about any of these things, but I'm like, maybe this is the time. Zoloft? I don't know. Maybe this is the time for me to go on some kind of a chill out medication, because clearly these articles are getting to me. Taking so much out of me. So this, again, let's remind ourselves what we're talking, in case you just tuned in the last second. We are now accommodating unvaccinated friends, and it is now taking so much out of me. Oh my God, let me shed a tear. Like, wait a second, guys. I'm gonna cry a little bit for the vaccinated friend who has to deal with her unvaccinated ones. Freaking hell. One of my close friends recently moved to the city where I live. We both discussed wanting to start weekly hangout, very casual, such as alternating, making dinner with each other, sometimes just watching TV on the couch. Okay, honestly, who goes to their friend's house to watch TV on the couch? Like, she moved to the city, she's an adult. What the hell? Like, okay, whatever. Okay, sorry guys. If you do that with your friends, totally chill with that. I just find that this seems somewhat unlikely. Sometimes including our husbands, and sometimes not. I was so excited to have her in town. So this was like a nice little lead up to it. Like, oh, look at the fun stuff we're going to do. So, like, there's impending doom coming, right? So here's the doom. When she moved back, though, I found she wasn't jabbed. Whoa, she's a heathen. I'm high risk and work with other high risk people. Okay. If you're high risk, honey, why the hell do you work with high risk people? Can I ask that? Is that a legit question? Am I going to get banned all over the place for that? If you're high risk, your best bet is to do a computer job where you sit at home, That's what I do. I'm not high risk, but my job happens to be I'm at home. I see nobody all day. I'm just sitting here and I work on Zoom with other teams, other people all over Canada. So you know what? If you're high risk, why the hell would you work? They just this is bullshit, right? This is bullshit in this article. So whatever. This is propaganda. This person doesn't even exist. They're making this shit up. Many of whom are unable to get vaccinated. I don't feel like it's smart to be in each other's houses given my risk and my job. So you don't want to risk your job, but we're totes chill over here with my unvaccinated friend losing her job. Like that's totes chill. But me, my job, no. See, that's selfish people, ridiculous. Now our weekly hangouts are way more taxing on me since I refuse to be inside with her. Oh, so the propaganda worked on you. You were properly brainwashed by everybody. You think that you cannot be inside with unvaccinated. Is that what happened over the last 22 months? We were slowly brainwashed into believing that you have to be only in the presence of the jabbed. Yes, sometimes I like going on walks or meeting for lunch, but I don't have it in me to do this every week. Hangouts were supposed to be rejuvenating and relaxing after a long week of work in your high-risk environment with your high-risk people. But now I feel even more work for me. Not to mention working with high-risk people who are unable but desperately want to be vaxxed. Gives me little sympathy for, of course, they have to do the sympathy card. This is part of the major propaganda agenda. It's reducing sympathy for the unvaxxed. So this is what's happening here. So anyways, I don't think we can read too much of this article without paying for this, but you can just see what kind of bullshit we're dealing with here. This is complete garbaggio. This is propaganda. This is divisive. This is meant to instill fear in you. This is to address to people who are kind of on the fence going, I don't know if I should see people who are unvaxxed. Well, this article is there to address that for you. So you don't have to think anymore. You don't have to think. The slate and all of their little propaganda mainstream media outlets are here to think for you. So look, you don't have to think anymore. We're telling you, honey, you don't have to be with your unvaxxed friends because it's so much work. Like, oh my God, Becky. Oh, okay, enough of that. We have more troubling details to deal with. Here's another one. Unvaccinated firefighters are getting let go. So we had the nurses, we had EMT, and now we have the firefighters. So this is Toronto. So, okay, I'm just trying to scramble to understand what world we are going to live in, because now we have the nurses leaving their jobs, even if it's just 20%. Like nurses is a highly technical job where you have to know stuff. You can't just go out of your suite and go, we need 2 more nurses today. Please sign up right here. You can't do that. Like this is a trained job. Same for the EMT, same for the firefighters, everybody, army, everybody. So now you guys are losing your firefighters. So good luck. I hope your house doesn't catch on fire because now the firefighters don't want this and they are walking out of their jobs. They would rather be fired. So again, more insanity headed your way. I hope you've braced yourselves. I read this and I'm like, okay, the nurse is walking out. Okay, let's dose up on vitamin C so I don't get sick, don't have to end up in a hospital. Then the EMTs, I'm like, okay, let's reduce our risk factors so we don't have like an accidental broken bone or something, and we don't have to end up in the hospital calling the ambulance. And now I see the firefighters, I'm like, okay, let's buy an extra carbon monoxide detector and an extra fire detector so we don't have to, right? Like I'm thinking, this is every time this happens, I'm like, holy shit, we're gonna lose so many good competent people. But anyways, I'm going to address how this can be mitigated in the Polish part of the show. So hang in there with me. We're going to get there. Okay, here's my favorite one of the week. Don't expect EI if you lose your job for not being jabbed. Oh, tough one to swallow, this one. So we knew this was coming. We had announced this a few months ago before the jabs were even rolled out. We said, you know what, they're going to tax people that don't get jabbed. That's the next step after this. But they're also going to not allow people who don't get jabbed to go on EI. So they're saying that technically if you go on EI, it's because you lost your job through no fault of your own. So there's a downsizing or whatever, something happens in your company. But if you go and you're stealing staplers every week and you get fired because you get caught, then you don't qualify for EI. So now they're putting the people who don't want the job in the same category of the people who were dismissed for ill intent. So you lost your job because you didn't show up. You lost your job because you're stealing staplers every week. You lost your job because you raped your coworker at her desk and you got caught on security cameras. You are in the same category now and you're losing your job and you don't get, because you didn't get jabbed, all of you don't get EI. All of you. So it's ridiculous. It's such an egregious withdrawal of funds, because when you signed up for your job, you didn't sign up for whatever job your company wanted to give you. This was a new addition. This was something new that came in. It was added while you were at your work. So therefore, it is no fault of your own. So the fact that you lose your job because of this should be because of no fault of your own, but they're putting the fault on you. It's on you now. So you're not going to get EI. So take me, for example. I've paid into EI my whole life, and I've only taken out of it twice, is when I had my mat leaves. I had 3 boys, but 2 mat leaves, because one of the mat leaves, I didn't even take a mat leave. So I would not, so despite the fact that I've been paying into EI for almost 37 years now, I would not qualify for it if I lost my job because I did not want to get injected by my employer, right? By a mandate by my employer. It's absolutely insane. So there you go. This is the insane world we're living in today. So that does it for the articles. We are going to look now at Poland. So you guys know my love for Poland. I don't know. Is there anybody from Poland in the chat here? Normally we have Maria from Poland. I don't know. Trent, oh my gosh, Trent. Trent said, who told you about the staplers? Trent, look, stop stealing staplers in your workforce, okay? Just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth. Okay. Okay. A couple more people join. Lance, you're here. Rainy Steps. Rainy. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. Big shout out to Rainy Steps. Rainy is based AF. Rainy has been on all of our channels, all of us Canadian here who have been doing this for years. He's been like one of our main supporters. So big shout out to Rainy Steps. Give him some love in the chat, please, guys, because awesome person. I don't know who you are because I've never met you in real life, but I love you. Rainy Steps, so happy to see you. Okay, so today, the Polish story comes to you from this book here, this one, The Rise and Fall of Communism. So this is a big, really thick book, and it really explains a heck of a lot. The author is a political and historical guy, professor. He worked at Oxford, I think. But anyways, he explains a lot of it. And I was looking for what example can we pull on where people were against the regime and stood up and were somewhat successful. So I'm not going to lie, the Polish were not entirely successful in their measures, but they were successful enough to piss off the commies. And when I mean piss off, it wasn't just, oh, we pissed off the Polish commies. They did enough damage to literally alarm the commies of all of Europe. So the Polish example is what we need to follow here to address the issues that we're having. But I'm going to restate for you what the Polish people have done in order to combat the communism. So just a quick recap on Poland. Poland was like, okay, yeah, we're Poland. So then they had the commies come in. They became part of the USSR. Then they were like, oh shit, this is not good. Then the Nazis came in 1939 in September. And then the Polish were like, whoa, what the hell is happening in our country? So of course the Nazis are like, hey guys, we're here to Nazify you all. So we don't care about your Poland history. We don't care about your Polish heritage. And we definitely don't care about the Catholic Church because you're all going to be Nazis here. Oh, and by the way, we're going to put a bunch of camps in your country so that we can say in the future that we didn't kill anybody in German territory. We're going to kill them in Polish territory. So Auschwitz and all those, this is why Auschwitz and all those camps were in Poland. So Poland's going, what the hell? And then after the war, the commies came back in and like, yeah, guys, we're going to resume this stuff here. Like, I know the Nazis, that was a hiccup in your history, but you're Soviets now. You guys are part of the Soviet Union. So that's what happened. So the Polish, by 1991, when all of this collapsed, the Polish have been like, screw you all. We are done. We are going back to our Polish Catholic heritage. And this to everybody who doesn't want to be that. So this is why Poland has been such a strong state in the last years. This is why they've resisted the waves of immigration that the EU has been trying to push on them. So anyways, huge respect for Poland. I hope I have a few Polish people in the chat here. If I do, big shout out to you guys because you are the fighters and we need fighters like that in Canada. So I'm going to inspire our Canadian fighters to go into the Polish mindset today. And we are going to look at what these guys did to really annoy the communists that were in power. Okay, so once you're in a communist regime, really the economy really sucks. So it comes down to three things if you want to live your kind of life on an okay basis. So in our capitalist world, you want to live your life in peace. What you do is you kind of follow the rules and you go and work. You work, you make money, you work harder, you make more money, and then you are able to buy more and more things, and then you grow your assets that way, and that's how it works. In the communist world, because the economy is so terrible, the only things you have to rely on are pretty much the connections you have. So everybody gets paid the same. It sucks. So your connections are the difference between if you get tickets to the cinema, tickets to the train. So somebody will, like, through connections, and there's another one called pull. And the last one is called like pusher the fixer. So those are kind of the three ways in a communist society that you can actually get something. So if you have your connections, the communists, you talk to ex-communists these days and they'll be like, nah, it wasn't like that. Like, I wouldn't like do it for gain. I would do it like I would get him theater tickets and then he would like maybe be friendly enough to like call the doctor and make an appointment for me. So they'll never admit that that's what was going on, but that was what was going on. So everything was connection-based, pull-based. Pull is more like you're getting somebody to do something for you, and the fixer is more the person that's going to come in and repair things for you, and then you're going to reward them with something else. So it involves skill and not just an exchange of a service. So anyways, this is what would happen. So this is all the USSR states. But Poland really started going beast mode on communists in the 1970s. So they had a first revolt where they really got upset and the workers were revolting. So the workers in the factories revolted. And what would happen is it was always like the workers would revolt. Then 2 years later or 2 years before, the intellectuals would revolt. And then the workers would revolt again. And then the intellectuals would revolt. And then one day they were like, holy shit, guys, why don't we just combine forces so that we can revolt at the same time and make a bigger impact? And so that's exactly what we're doing, because while the workers were revolting, like, you had all the intellectuals like standing back like, oh, look, the workers are revolting. And then the same thing, the intellectuals would like write all these things in their journals and be like, okay, let's get this going, guys. The communists are not right. Like, we need to prove it. And they would write it in their journals. And then all the workers are like, dude, we're working in a factory over here, so we don't have time for this shit. We don't have time to listen to you guys. So they would always revolt, but at different times. And it was highly ineffective. So really what happened is they would actually come together. So there was a couple of things that went wrong at the same time in Poland. In the 70s as well. Check this out. This might happen here, guys. But in Poland, the price of meat went up 69% overnight. So can you imagine? It was an average of 60% of all goods. But can you imagine being a Polish guy? You wake up and you're like 69% more for meat. Absolutely insane. This is what is likely to happen here. Maybe not 69%, but so of course you have that kind of thing happen because of course the communist systems is unable to procure for itself. So communist systems really rely on borrowing money, and that's what the Poles did. The Polish communist society government, they borrowed, and that's how they were financing it. So then when they tried to take a stab at it and handle their economy, they find out they couldn't. So the meat prices went up drastically. The workers were striking at that point. And it's funny, they did some BLM tactics here. I wouldn't necessarily agree with all of this, but they set fire to some local communist buildings. And get this, this was innovative for the time. Right now, all of our like green climate change alarmists, crazy folks are doing the same shit. But what they did in Poland is a bunch of people from a tractor factory, grabbed a bunch of tractors and they drove them out, and they actually stopped the Paris-Moscow train. So that's a pretty big deal at the time, if you can think about that. But because of all of those measures, the government immediately rescinded the price increases. So they were trying to increase the price because they couldn't make the supply at home. And they were too taxed for whatever it was, like 50 years of borrowing money from other countries. Poland couldn't do that anymore. So they tried to increase the price of food and commodities, and the workers revolted. So that was one of the really good things. Now, as you would think, the commies promptly fired a whole bunch of people who were involved in those uprisings. So that's what's to be expected. But don't you find it eerily similar to what's happening right now? So anybody in our world, you protest the injection by simply not getting it, and now you get fired. It's the same thing. So these things are repeating themselves, but it's a really good thing because we need people to do this. We need people to refuse the injection and stand up. We need these people to be the new Polish workers of Canada 2021 edition. So and you know what I think? Like, some of the time I read these books and I think, wow, how many Poles were actually in Poland and resist the commies there? Then they emigrate to Canada. So immigrate into Canada, but emigrate from Poland to Canada. And they go, oh my God, we got to fight the same communists all over again. So how many Polish nurses, firefighters that are here, that are now resisting this because they understand what's happening, because their father resisted the price hikes in Poland in the 80s. Like, it's just insane, right? So, but anyways, so even though they fired people, what happens in the next few years, so we're talking in the 70s, is what really pissed off the commies. And this is our strategy. This is what we are going to have to do. So the intellectuals and the workers started collaborating together. So the intellectuals would write these articles that the workers would distribute within the factories. And what happened at that point is they became the biggest thorn in the communist side in all of the USSR. Poland was like the biggest problem. They even sent the head of the KGB to be on the committee sitting on, we'll get to that, but he sat on a committee trying to evaluate what do we do with Poland. Can you imagine? The head of the KGB is sent there. So anyways, it's also a beautiful twist in irony, because back in 1917, Lenin had used the newspapers to infiltrate the workers and propagate, like use the newspapers to print out all this propaganda about communism. And that's how he got a lot of followers. And now these guys were using the commie tools against them. And that is, again, another thing we can do, is to use the tools against them. So you want us to get jabbed? No. Until they jab us by force, they can't do anything. So this is where we resist. The same thing with the social media. We saw it happening in the last few years. You have alternative social media popping up. We're using the social media tool, but against them. So if they ban you on all these channels, you just go on a different platform and you can all of a sudden spread your message, and it becomes really, really cool. So we are doing that. We're doing the same thing, but we need to keep doing that. And again, I see all the protests. There's nurse protests. There's the aviation guys, right? You saw the aviation guys go out and protest. What needs to happen for us to successfully win this whole war, because we are at war, guys, we need for the nurses, the pilots, airline, everybody to come together. everybody, we have to stop doing these protests. And like, I say that as if it's easy. I know it's not, but in some way we have to stop the individual group protests and bring them all together. So that means when your local police force police force this is my freaking ADD brain, oh my god, the police force, when your police force is protesting, even though I'm not a police officer, I'm going to try to support them as much as I can, but it has to be like that, right? We have to all come together, and it can no longer be just the police force protest. It has to be the freedom protest, or whatever we want to name it that makes sense, that involves all of the groups, just like these guys did. So when the intellectuals and the workers came together, it was really a problem for the communists, and it was the biggest problem that the communists had at that point. So the authorities were also, this would help them, but they were a little bit afraid of the U.S. At that point. So at first it started with Carter was in the administration, then it was Reagan, and both were anti-commies. So of course, when you have like Reagan and his guys backing up Poland, it makes the USSR go, oh my gosh, like we are in trouble here, boys. We cannot make this happen. We cannot be too violent in our anti-protest, retaliation, because the US is watching us now. So in our current world, I don't feel we have an overarching power like that. The overarching power, which was the US back in the day, was kind of sitting over here on the side. For us, it's the power is there. It's just from the more grassroots. So not to be underestimated in any way. It's the grassroots across the world who are going to be the overarching power of this, that are going to prevent these measures from happening. And it's coming. It's happening. It's already started, and it's coming. Nuremberg 2.0 coming, you boys. You got to hang in there. It's coming. Trudeau going to be in that box where we're going to accuse him of all sorts of crimes against humanity. Him and his wife and his parliament, all of the people that he's put in power, all of them. They're just, you hang in there. We're getting there. So, okay. So in the 80s, so what happened is these intellectuals, the workers are working together. Eventually, they got the church in. So that was like the trifecta of power in Poland: workers, intellectuals, and Catholic Church. And one of the really big turning points for them was when they had Pope Jean-Paul II, who got elected. He was a Polish pope. First time in, like, I don't actually, it was 400 years of Roman Catholic history where it was not an Italian pope that was nominated, right? So this was a big deal for Poland. So, and then Jean-Paul II, he actually went to Poland to kick off his tour. So that was what was one of the biggest things that happened as well. We don't have a Jean-Paul II. We have a traitor in that right now in the papacy, papauté. What do you say that in English? Binks, how do you say papauté in English? He's gonna put it in the chat for me. I don't remember. It's like papacy. I don't know. Whatever the seat of the Pope is in Italy. But anyways, so the Pope, Jean-Paul II, Polish Pope, did a tour of Poland under communism, and that really kind of like reignited the Polish people with their heritage, their Catholic heritage and all that. So that was really, really good. We don't have that now, but it's okay. Papacy, there we go. Elizabeth, thank you. Hi, Elizabeth, by the way. I don't think I saw you until now, but hello. And Mr. K, oh, hi, Mr. K, you're here too. Okay, so the Pope is there, and this is really annoying to the USSR. They are basically peeing their pants at this point. So what the goal of the trifecta was to do, and this is what we're going to do too, guys. This is our plan. They did a alternative society. So their goal was not to overrun or to replace whatever. They're just like, you know what, we're going to build a parallel society. I'm trying to find how they called it here. Hold on, I have it here. An alternative organization. That's what the author from this book said. alternative organizations. And basically what that means is they're setting up parallel society. So you know how all of our nurses are getting fired for not taking the jab? Nurses, doctors, surgeons, like whatever, hospital cleaners, whatever you are, right? We need to build new organizations with the nurses using their skills. So the nurses, you don't have to go and become dog groomers. You don't have to become like bracelet beating, like beating, not like beat with a stick, but like a beating, like I don't know how you call that, whatever, jewelry maker. You don't have to do that. Like your sets of skills are so great that we need that. So what we need to do is exactly what the Polish did in the 1980s, and this, I was born by then. So what they need to do is we need to start building these parallel organizations. So saying, okay, fine, you don't want to do a transplant on me because I'm unjabbed. I'm going to go to the unjabbed hospital and they're going to do it there for me. So we scoop up the nurses, scoop up the EMTs, all of those guys, the police force, they need to do the same. Start a police force that is outside of the existing police force, because what the hell, it doesn't matter, right? The rulers are not following the law. Therefore, we do not need to follow the law anymore. So this is why I'm saying we set up our parallel societies, our parallel organization, and we can actually make this work. This is how we're going to do it. And what we do is we try to win over people. So our organizations would not turn away a vaxxed person, for example. We would let them come in. So we would not be a discrimination organization like the other counterpart of ours is trying to do. So anyways, of course, the goal was to turn all of the communist organizations into empty shells. They were fairly successful at that. I mean, I don't want you guys to think it's like a super great fairy tale story and everybody ends up happy and they end up like, but it was troubled. It was, the Polish history is always so troubled, but the goal was to take away as many people from the communist lifestyle and bring them into these the different organizations that these guys had. So of course, you see an increase in strikes. The workers were demanding more and more things. And they wanted the reinstatement of people who were dismissed as well for political reasons. So can you imagine if we lived in a world where the vax nurses actually did protest to reinstate their unvaxxed colleagues? This is what they would need to do. That would be a solution right there. If you take one hospital and you take all the nurses and all of the doctors who are vaxxed, who are left there, who go out and protest and say, we're not working anymore until you reinstate our colleagues, that would do it. I don't know if there's enough strong people in there to do that, enough uncorrupt people, even if it was a majority. But that would be one peaceful way of resolving this situation real quick. Okay, so the movement in Poland became known as Solidarity, and that was the trifecta: the church, the workers, the intellectuals. And just to give you an example of how insane their growth was, in 1980 October, there were 3 million members. And by December 1980, so this is what, Octobre, Novembre, Décembre, 3 mois, 3 months, 8 million members. So they went up 5 million members in 3 months. And that is before social media. So if these guys could do it before social media, I don't understand why we can't. We should have that easy. So, okay. And the best part, this is my favorite, the Solidarity movement was led by a 37-year-old electrician. So can you imagine in your communist world, like you're an electrician and you fix stuff and you're like, okay. And next day you wake up and you're like the leader of an 8 million member party organization. It's kind of really cool if you think about it. So by that time, by 1980, Poland was a pure, beautiful threat to communism. And this is when, of course, the commies, and you're gonna say, oh my God, this sounds so familiar. But the commies, you know what they said in response? They said, well, the workers are being misled, right? And they're saying they're being misled by counter-revolutionaries. So in today's speak, it would be, oh, you're being provided medical misinformation. That's what it would be. It's the same thing. It's like all of this is the same playbook over and over and over. I don't understand why we go along with it. So, okay. The USSR freaked out of their minds. kind of fumbling through this, going, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're used to killing so many people. How are we going to handle this? The US is watching us. What the hell? So what they did is they started a commission to look at this. They sent the KGB, and what they wanted to do is martial law. And sadly, they ended up doing martial law. So even though the Reagan administration in 1981, he's already like, yo, we're going to give you all the support you need to Solidarity, the group. They still, the USSR, working along with the commies in Poland, still imposed martial law. It only lasted about 2 years, but it managed to subdue Solidarity for a little bit. However, in history, what Solidarity went down as is this massive entity that managed to, within a communist regime, transform the political and social life in Poland. It gave people a new way of thinking. And it, best part of all, alarmed all of the communists in Europe. Probably alarmed like Fidel Castro too, and like everybody. Probably alarmed all the communists all over the world, right? So this is where, even though in the end, Solidarity came back strong at the end of the 80s, right when the USSR was falling, because they happened to get lucky with the economic downturn, and they were there to scoop it up. And they're the ones who rebuilt Poland after the USSR collapsed. So it's a tumultuous story. It's not a great, like, glorious, like movie ending story for Solidarity. But they did quite an achievement, because when you're under such a tyrannical regime, your only outcome is that you scared the shit out of them, that in my books is a huge win. And along the way, they've provided us with real life examples of things that we can do to fight the communism that we're seeing right now. It's called gobulism. Oh God. Gobulism. Globalism is what I meant to say, but I called it gobulism. It may as well be gobulism. What the hell? But yeah, globalism is what communism is today. And some of their offshoots are known as climate change. What's the one in schools there? I can't remember. Binks. What is it called in the schools where you have the theories that say that white men are responsible for all evils in the world? Critical race. There we go. See, Binks. All I need to do is mention you, and like via osmosis, I can feel your transmission of information. So yes, critical theory. This communism is everywhere now, and it's like enwrapped in this whole globalism ideal. But it's the same stuff. It's the same as USSR. It's the same as Venezuela today. It's the same as Fidel Castro's Cuba. So the Polish example is one of my favorites. Now, I'm going to try to find more examples for you for next week of freedom fighters that have gone against this and what it is they've done. But again, if I could just be allowed to recap for 1 second here, if we get all of the groups together under one umbrella and we fight as one, that is one of the keys. It's going to make the Trudeau government full-blown panic if we do that. And if all we achieve is a full-blown panic of the government, they're going to start making mistakes left and right because they won't think right. And we may have a chance to start taking back some of the stuff. We need to take back what they've taken away. They won't give it back. They won't give it back, guys. So we're taking it back. So go as one, and then make sure that we keep this up constantly in their face. So you guys know how Trudeau's always in our face with the stupid jab. Every single week is like, you must get jabbed. If you haven't gotten jabbed yet, you need to go do the right thing, right? This is Trudeau every week. We need to be the opposite effect of that, where we every single week put back out in the universe, no, we're not doing that. So we stay strong. So stay strong, stand your ground. That's another way of doing it. And we're going to hope for a couple measures. We're going to have economic downfall coming. We're going to hope that is going to be in our favor, and we're going to use it. And lastly, we're going to use these medias against them. So you want to ban me off of here? I'm going to go on Rumble. I'm going to go on BitChute, and I'm going to keep putting out this message so that we have always this voice I would say reason, but at least voice of opposition that is always allowed to speak. If I need to take, I mean, I don't want to go out in public and do this in public because I'm so shy, but if I need to, I might have to take a speakerphone somewhere and go start shouting this stuff everywhere, because I don't want the government to keep doing this, what they're doing to us. This is communism. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. The David, I don't think I said hi to you. Hi over on the guys on BitChute, the David, one of my favorites. So yeah, guys, keep the fight up. This is really, yeah, she knows to do the right thing. You know what? Not only he will be brought up on criminal charges, but not only him, the doctors, your doctors who are doing this now, they're not going to escape this. They are going to be held responsible. The nurses who administered the jabs, I mean, they're probably going to look for the nurses who administered the most amount of jabs, but they're coming. They're coming for, we are coming for them. This is not going to go unnoticed. And we are preparing the ground right now for this international tribunal that will look at all of this. Look at what, I can't say this on YouTube, but just look at what was uncovered about Fauci this week. Look at it. And the tribunals are coming. And our Justin Trudeau will be part of that. He will be a defendant having to explain himself. And you know how politicians go off on Twitter and they delete tweets? Well, good luck, because Trudeau has like daily tweets for months where he says, get the jab. There is no digging his way out of this one. There is no denying it. There is no way. So what, like I said, use this social media against them. What's on the internet is there forever. I'm proud that my stuff is there forever with the message that I'm putting out there. I have nothing to hide, and I'm willing for anybody in the world to watch this under any circumstance, even if it means that I end up in a gulag. I will go down this route if I have to. But for people like Trudeau, who have done these horrors to people, who have taken away our freedoms, who have acted like dictators. I was going to say dicks, but I meant to say dictator, but it's almost like it's my subconscious is coming out, who acted like dicks. No, like dictators. We're coming for you, boy. We are coming for you. And all of you doctors too, and all of you public health officials, evil cretins out there who have done this to us. We're coming for you. It's just a matter of time. So anyways, oh yeah, and the cat is there. Yeah, he's back. He's right there, Scribbler. Do you see him? Do you see? Oh, he just yawned for you guys. He's so bored by my stream, man. Anyways, I gotta go feed this cat. He wants to come in and go lay down in his fluffy bed. But thank you all for joining today. I hope you like the stream. I'll keep looking and doing research onto what other freedom fighters were out there in the past and what brought down communism. We'll keep at this. Thank you all so much for being here. Love you all, and have a really good night, guys.